workshop is being facilitated by the CARICOM through the unit which deals with the CSME and the freedom of movement of labor and the integration process. The Office of Facilitating is Ms. Whittier, who heads that unit at the CARICOM Secretariat, and it's being facilitated by a Mr. House, who is a consultant engaging in the training. Now, what is the purpose of the training? It is, in fact, to acquaint and create a greater awareness among our people, our public servants, our senior staff in the Ministry of Labor, but also the Ministry of Trade and other people whom we think should be involved in respect of the requirements of the CSME for the free movement of labor, dealing with matters like who are considered the persons who can move freely in the Caribbean and engage in employment in member states. They have 10 categories, primarily university graduates, musicians, artisans, and things like that. And then you look at other categories, domestic workers, nurses with trained certificates, not university degrees, and so on. What we are establishing through this seminar today is how to establish the labor management information system, and that is to acquire and establish a database, a data system, which would be available to inform all of the countries as to the availability of labor, the availability of employment as well, because the two things must go hand in hand. And this will facilitate the movement of labor where it is required to facilitate the CSME and the implementation thereof. It is important for us that our people understand what the agreements which have been made by our government in respect of the freedom of movement, so that we do not have the ongoing tension between non-nationals who are CARICOM members, who are holders, who qualify to move freely and to be employed, because this will minimize the requirement for tension and contention in the workplace or on the media as it continues to unfold from day to day. I think this, when the training would have been completed, our workers in the Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Trade, and other relevant ministries and departments will have a greater understanding and therefore be able to engage in the dissemination of that information and the implementation of that information. We expect to have equipment through the 10th EDF to provide computers for the establishment of the different database here in St. Kitts. This will enable us there to link into and allow other people to link into us, to share the information across the region for a smoother operation of the CSME.
Okay, you mentioned tensions within the society. What do you think the general attitude is in St. Kitts and Nevis about the CSME?
Well, I think because people don't fully understand and have not been fully acquainted with the provisions of the CSME over the years, and this has been a very big challenge, where decisions are made as heads of government at the different agencies of CARICOM, but there has been no dissemination of the specifics and the details for people within the community to have a full appreciation. So therefore, when our citizens see someone from another CARICOM country come into the region and is employed, they're saying they come to take over jobs, whereas there is that understanding which has been signed on to since 1989 and subsequent adjustments to the Treaty of Chaguaramas to allow for the movement of skills, movement of goods, and so on. But there's still that lack of appreciation, of understanding of the meaning and the impact of those agreements. And so when someone sees a non-national of St. Kitts and Nevis, but a CARICOM national who has an entitlement based on the agreements which we've signed on to, that is what creates the tension, because they don't understand what we have signed on to over the years. And I think it is an effort to remove those gray areas, that misunderstanding, why trainings like these are important. And I'm hoping that year on year we can see a greater understanding and a greater appreciation of where we are in the curriculum arrangement.
Are there any plans to do this with the general public?
Well, I think we will, after the training, I think we can get the Ministry of Labor, or the persons who have been trained, to engage in an ongoing dialogue with the people, by radio, by TV, and maybe a call-in program, so that we can share the information with the expectation that our people will have a better understanding and therefore do some of the things which are required to make themselves more capable to have the jobs which are available. Foreign investment, local investment. One, they need to make sure they have themselves qualified, whether at high school or at university or at a college or technical college through TVET. There's also the need to acquire the CVQs, that is to ensure that we have a Caribbean qualification, and be able to get the skill certificate, so that if our nationals have to travel anywhere, they will also have the ability to work in other countries. But I will always say that it is better for them to equip themselves with the necessary skills and qualification to work here, so that the need for external employment or labor to come in would be minimized. Because if the labor force is available here and is equipped, trained, qualified, capable, I think it is easier for the local employer to look at local employees to take up those jobs.